Round one, fight!
What's going on, everybody, in BW Sports One World? This is Combat Zone, and the Lion is here with a very special guest. We have Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships, Britain Hart 4.0. What is going on, Britain?
Hey, how are you? Oh, man, it's so great to be on the show. I'm super pumped.
Oh, appreciate it again. Thank you for coming on and spending a little time with us. I know you're in a better climate right now. We won't tell everybody in the world where you're at because we don't want everybody bum rushing you during fight camp. But the weather is obviously a lot better there than Indianapolis, like we talked about before the show. You're from Utah, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you moved, or you reside right now in Virginia, right?
Correct.
Okay. Give us all a little backstory, because the BW Sports One World may not be fully into the fight scene like I have been since 2005, but kind of give a little background on who Hart 4.0 is.
Right. Well, it's crazy. I started off in Utah. I was born in Utah. I was in a military family. So we actually moved over to Turkey and lived in Turkey for 3 years, and then Germany for 5. And then we moved over to the United States. So since then, I've always played sports. Obviously when I was over in Germany, I played soccer and I was very, very good. So growing up and going to high school, that was mainly what I was the superstar in. And then, I just kept with sports, and some things happened in my life. I ended up getting in a terrible relationship and had an abusive relationship. It ended pretty bad. So there was like bouncing back from that. And then some other legal problems that were going on that just made my life super hard. So I found myself going to a boxing gym just naturally from all those years of like just growing up kind of on the go. And then boxing just kind of felt like it filled every void I'd ever had. It was kind of something that I could figuratively fight inside the ring, what I was fighting outside the ring with, numerous of problems, like from moving around and being bullied at an early age, to going through family issues, problems, and my own personal young adult issues. So, anyways, it was, something that I had to, work at and be at rock bottom. And then when I realized fighting and boxing was there for me, it was something that, I even kept with strong. I had to sleep out of my car a few times, just in order to go to the gym and handle everything. And it was something where I literally started at the bottom. I'm not like a lot of these other boxing backgrounds. Like, you're asking who Britain Hart is. She's not someone who, my dad was a boxer, my family boxed, my brother boxes. I didn't have that. I didn't come from money where they could pay for the personal training or special camps or send me off to tournaments. I mean, those tournaments take a lot of money that people don't realize. So, I grew up from that. We had to work really hard for what we had, and you had to work for your place. And so, that's kind of what I took into boxing and started off, I did well in the beginning, and then I got fed to the sharks super young, and in my career at least. And I fought like Alicia Baumgardner, Inkom Kerwat, that are like world champions that I fought my 3rd and 4th fight ever competitively. And I always ended up, even though sometimes it didn't go my way, it ended up me earning, the respect and the heart of other people that were like, wow, that was the fight of the night. Like, for being a female too. Like, that's another thing that makes me, like, you would be surprised, almost every single card that I've been on afterwards, the reaction, whether I won, lost, or had a draw, is like, you were the most exciting fight of the night. Like, the passion and the action, and just every fight that I've ever been in has delivered like just so much respect that way. And so it's really gotten me to the point where now I'm at my 14th professional fight, going into my 15th on Super Bowl weekend down in Tampa on February 5th. So that's going to be my 15th pro fight and, regulated fight that I've had. So it's exciting to see the journey and how I started and now where I'm at.
There you go. I mean, that's what everybody goes through is the adversity. And it sounds like you had a little bit more than the normal person of adversity to get where you're at. And I commend you and anybody else in your type of shoes that goes from, the lower end, quote unquote, the lower end to where you're at now. Hats off to you and keeping your vibes positive. I mean, I watch you on Instagram. Your vibes are just, they're vibrant. They're positive. They get people in the right mindset. And that's especially what the youth needs today, is to watch athletes like yourself stay positive, focus on motivating that positivity from everything in the world and focusing it and pinpointing it into what you love.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you see that sometimes in other sports a little bit more than you would combative sports, just because of its like the nature of the sport. But at the same time, it's still good to show that, hey, you can be fighting the like biggest, scariest opponent and still be in a positive mindset and doing great things and doing good things for other people.
That's right. I love it. I love it. I love hearing stories like this, Brett. So awesome. You mentioned, you didn't have the funds to technically go to gyms and get the training and all that, like, a lot of the people do growing up and getting into this sport. So were your training more like the Rocky videos that we've all seen? And when you're out jogging, obviously, you find a little makeshift gym or something in the garage and stuff like that. Kind of fill us in on where you were in your training processes.
Absolutely. And I'm actually, it's crazy because I think hopefully sooner than later, I think people are really going to see, I'm going to tell you guys right now and you're going to have that audio, but I think in a little bit, you're going to see the visual and see kind of actually how I started. So I'm really excited for you guys. So that's like a little hint for you guys to kind of look forward to.
Wink,
but yeah,
wink.
No, I definitely did the Rocky. I mean, running mountains, like I live in Virginia for most of my fighting career, and there's mountains everywhere. So hiking and sprinting to the top of mountains, definitely I'm a huge outdoors person anyway. So trails and being outside is free, doesn't cost money. And it was something I always had access to. I had like a swing set and I would disattach the swing set. And actually I had a friend who had an old punching bag, and they were like, here you go, we're not using it. So they gave it to me. So I got like a hand-me-down heavy bag, and I actually found a way to like hang it onto my child's swing set so I could punch it there. In my living room, I even had someone drill a hole from the top of my kitchen. Like, no lie, I can get you proof. And I used to have a heavy bag in the middle of my living room, right next to my dining table. When people would walk in my house, they'd be like, "Britton, are you freaking serious? Is that really a heavy bag?" And I'd be like, well, it was the only place to hang it inside, because obviously when it was cold or raining or wet, you couldn't go outside. So I actually had it inside for the longest time too. I did weights. I would go to parks and kind of double duty being a young mom and everything. And I'd use like the pull-up bars from the monkey, the thing that goes across the playground.
Monkey bars?
Thanks. Yeah. So the monkey bars. Yeah. So I would be like doing pull-ups off those, using the benches as like incline push-ups and doing dips and triceps. But I mean, you get the picture. But so yeah, it was all of that. And then finally, just earning the respect of people. I had a coach down there by Marcus Luck down at Luck's Boxing Gym. And he was like, if you ever need help, come in the gym, pop in the gym. It was a far drive. It was like an hour and a half to get there, but they knew that I was driving so far. So, they wouldn't mind, sometimes gave me a break just for how far I had to drive to get there. But I mean, that's not feasible and practical all the time. So I just have to do it at home or beg people. Like sometimes I would beg someone to come meet me at the YMCA. And they would hold pads for me there. And that was like, I remember when that happened, it was like the best day ever. And they would hold pads for 45 minutes. And I would just think that I was so special just to have that small, tiny moment.
Right. And I agree wholeheartedly with you, because when I used to train, we didn't have a lot of these gyms like we do nowadays around the area. Obviously, I'm never going to exceed where I was in amateurs, you know. That besides the point. I'm fat and old now, dear, so don't worry about me getting in there. Um, oh, you lost my train of thought on that. Now you blew me away. No.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did it earlier with the monkey bars, so we're even.
There you go. Explain to the world. You know, you got your first love in boxing. You know, you got that means to funnel that energy into something good and positive in boxing.
Mhm.
What made you decide to switch over from putting those big gloves on to going to nothing?
So it's crazy because a lot of people naturally ask that question. And it's something that I'm not being cliche or cheesy, but it is something that truly found me. I did not go looking for bare knuckle. I really didn't. And they hit me up probably about 3 or 4 times. I was training for this big fight in Atlantic City in New Jersey, and so I told them no, thank you, but keep me in mind for other opportunities. Well, then they hit me back up after that, and I was like, dang, they might, that usually when you tell someone no, thank you, you never hear back from them, but here they are calling again. And I was like, you know what? Nah, I don't think it's a good idea. Beck Rawlings. I really want to focus on boxing. And then we kept talking. They kept actually hitting me up. And finally, I was like, man, I don't want to go on TV and get murdered in front of everyone just because for money. I was like, I really am doing this to be the best. And I want to be the best fighter. And I feel like in boxing, I have that ability. And the person was like, you know what? I really think that this is for you, like your boxing style. And honestly, don't look at it as you fighting a UFC girl or this. Look at it fighting yourself and have an opportunity to be a star that you've always really been trying to be. And so I kind of was like, and I thought about it and I found myself asking, what do you think? Should I bare knuckle? And someone would be like, are you fucking crazy? No. And I got that response. Not everybody was for it. And then some people would be like, well, why not? What do you have to lose? So I found that I kept asking people, and I was like, the fact that I'm asking so many people and care about their opinions means that I'm looking for someone to justify it and tell me that it's okay. So I just said to hell with it. This is obviously in my heart what I want to do. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I knew that I was going to give my 100%. I was going to wake up at 5 and run that country road every day. I was going to go to the YMCA. I was going to do pool. I was going to do whatever it took to do the best while millions are watching. And then I found it was for a belt. Dude, that was even when I agreed and said yes, I didn't even know that it was for the belt. So then I had that put in my head, and I was just like, I really had like a Hunger Games mentality. Like, I'm this girl from District 12 and they're from District 2 where they have money and they're ready and prepared for war. And here I am just fighting for a good cause, And I just kind of looked at it like that and went in, and man, I gave it my all, and I felt like it was one of those feelings like I'm in the right place. Like, this is for me. It wasn't anything back, even though, I'd go back in time, I'd win, I wouldn't lose, but I would definitely do it. It's nothing that I wouldn't have started or, I regret doing.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, for somebody who's never stepped foot in a bare knuckle fight, as far as in the cage or ring or whatever, going up against Beck Rawlings for a belt and taking her 5 rounds to a split decision, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're
okay.
correct.
That right there should tell the world that not only do you not need these certain things that a lot of people grew up with as far as the money and the training and all that stuff, you have what your last name says. You have heart. And right there is 90% of the battle of even stepping foot in a ring, in a cage, on a jiu-jitsu mat or whatever. I mean, that right there takes that heart. You're showing your dedication is the second thing by showing up an hour and a half away from where you live. You said you're a young mom at that time. You got kids at home. You're driving an hour and a half away. Those people should see that as, okay, dedication. She's driving an hour and a half. Let's give her that 100% that she's showing us. And a lot of people, especially, again, I go back to the youth, a lot of people really need to instill that in their student athletes as far as show the dedication, because if you show dedication, your coaches, your peers, and everybody else will follow suit.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a quote that, I think I learned early on, and it was like, success is 80% showing up. The 20% is skill and hard work, but 80%, if you just show up and you're doing what you're supposed to, you know, you can do it. And that's so many times, like, it's so easy for people to make excuses to just show up. It's, I have a headache, or I have this problem, or I have this, or I don't have the money. It's whatever excuse that prevents them from showing up. And you're exactly right. So it's something that, you really sometimes, as much as it frustrates us, you can't teach heart. You
Nope.
either have to have it, or discover it and find it on your own. You really can't teach somebody like you could teach a jab or to deadlift or anything like that. It's something you have to really have deep down.
Yep. Now going over, 2020. Obviously, it's been a crazy year. How was your training affected from the COVID, and amongst all the other adversity? Being a mom, trying to do this, just like a normal person, a working person does. Kind of fill us in what training changed during 2020, and maybe how it's changed leading up to this fight.
Yeah, so it was terrible at first. I'm sure everybody has that feeling. So no one is better than the next. It was all devastating for everybody going through those changes in the pandemic. But I think for me, I think it really shows you who the true adapters and survivors are, because as bad as it is and was, it's something that I just was like, oh, here's another thing we have to push through. Like, how am I going to do this? It actually kind of helped me in some weird way, looking back on it now, because where I was working, I had 3 jobs. So I was really busy working with kids and this and that. Well, when COVID hit, I lost all 3 jobs. So since I lost all 3 jobs, I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do for money? So I started trying to find jobs that were like, manual labor, cutting trees, yard work, raking, whatever it was to get some money, but it was keeping me really physically fit. And then I started thinking, people with the gyms closed, I could train people, that really need it, and that I can get around that way. So I started training people, which pushed me, because, I'm always one of those people that does it with you. So for me, I'm working out 3 times a day sometimes, because I'm going to meet people and train, and I have to, I'm always very big on, you can't just talk. Like, it's easy to talk to someone and say, do 20 push-ups. But when you're right there doing 20 push-ups with them, it makes it a little bit different of a quality of a workout. They feel like more friend and like we're in it together type of thing. So anyways, it was helping me that way. And then, it was rough, and there were some, definitely some things I went through that I wish didn't happen in that time period, but I got around it. And then I ended up thinking I was going to fight BKFC in June against Callie Cutler. And that fight was like dead set for me. So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Like, I don't know if, this is a big fight. I really need it. I'm 0-2 in bare knuckle. This is my time to get back. And I had that mentality in the summertime. So that was already my mentality. It was like, there's no way I can take another loss. It's not happening over my dead body type of attitude. So I dropped everything in Virginia and moved up to outside of Philly, and was training in Philly. And then the fight got canceled because of COVID. And I was like, oh, man. And I told my coach, you know what, we were getting this money and I was going to pay them. And so then they didn't get that money, so they were frustrated, and I'm not working and I didn't get money, so I'm frustrated. So then they were like, well, we might have the fight in July. So I'm like, come on, this just gives us more time to prepare. We got it. So the fight comes in July, and something happens with that, and that ends up getting canceled. And then I was like, oh, here we go again. We're redoing the process. And then I found a fight in August, and I was like, well, just a little longer. Let's do the New Hampshire one. And then BKFC wanted me back, but it was already too late because I had a boxing agreement for the New Hampshire one. So I ended up doing that, which ended up being a first round knockout. And I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome. I got it. I'm back at it. I found like that power inside. And then I realized that I didn't have any money. I like was back to big fat zero after paying and being gone for so long. So came back to Virginia, and things started working out with COVID again. So I started working. Thank God. I was super blessed to have an awesome job at the Copper Kettle. And then that's when I told you I was driving an hour and a half to see the boxing gym when I could on my off days.
Gotcha.
And we started picking it back up. And that's when we had the November 13th fight against Randine, which also ended up amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So with this fight now, so bringing you up to date for the whole COVID thing, for this fight, I think honestly it's been the worst for me. And it's so funny and ironic because this whole year I didn't, I've been overcoming all these obstacles, but right now I'm like, oh my God, what if I catch COVID? Then everybody who's excited for this fight and it doesn't happen, like, how am I going to react to that? How are people going to react to that? And it's something that, sometimes I'm like really worried and really concerned with, but it's out of my control, and I know it's out of everyone's control, but that's, I think, the only thing that's affected my camp. Other than that, everything's great. I'm getting the work that I need to. I'm not complaining there. I have plenty of places to still run, and I'm physically in the best shape I've been in my opinion. So physically I'm doing great. It's just that thought of what if, and I think that everybody, it's not just me, I think everybody's just so fed up with, when is this going to end, and just all the mess with it. So it does kind of play a mental part in fighting, because just like I said, if I catch it or something like that, what if my fight gets canceled? And then how am I going to, survive that way? So it's just a fighter's mentality. And again, why I want it more makes me a little different than, someone like Paige Vanzant, who has money, who, if this fight falls through, she probably could care less. It doesn't mean anything to her. Where this fight falls through, for me, it's huge.
Totally understand that. Now let's kind of talk about this big matchup that you have February 5th in Tampa area against Paige Vanzant. I watched and covered the December 11th, I think it was, the last fight, when you were sitting cage side with Chris, and you were talking about this fight, and you were lobbying at that point, because I don't think that Paige had an actual opponent yet set. And I think you were lobbying that weekend to really try to pull it in, and you got it. So at first, let's hear about the reaction. You get the phone call, the text, or however it went, saying, we got it.
Oh man, I was like, I kind of was like, I knew it. I shouldn't have been so stressed out about it, because it was like, I had it, I didn't have it, I had it, I didn't have it. And people are like, you have to have it. It has to be you. And then some people are like, oh, it's definitely not going to be you. So it was just crazy. But when I finally, when it was, I think it was real to me when I got the contract. And when I got the contract, though, I had already been so smart, and it makes me even more eager and excited, because I was already training for it. Like, I actually made the choice to just go ahead and train for Paige Vanzant without a contract, without anything guaranteed, to train for it no matter what. And if I didn't get it, hey, whatever. But if I got it, I wouldn't have that as an excuse. So bam, I was already training for it. So I just smiled. I sent the contract in. I'm like, it's on,
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Yep.
It's yours. So now let's get into it. Paige Vanzant obviously has the name, the face, the recognition from the mixed martial arts world. Making this transition from MMA to bare knuckle fighting, which I do not believe she's ever felt. Well, I mean, in a cage, in a legitimate fight, a bare knuckle to the face, to the head, to the ribs. It's a totally different feeling than when you have, 12 to 16 ounce gloves on, or even 4-ounce gloves for that matter. What do you plan on doing to her in this fight?
Well, I obviously don't plan on it going out of the third round. So I have that nailed down. So it's not going out of the third round for her. So it's going to be the shortest, a shorter fight that you're not used to seeing from me. So I am excited to put that together. But you're definitely just going to, she is tough. So she's not going to go down easy. So it's something I think, kind of like with my last fight, that I have tools that I need to use over and over, and I'm not scared to use them, and keep pounding you. If I have to keep, pounding you in your nose or your head or whatever to swell you up, that's just what's going to happen. And then after I kind of pick it apart, it's going to be easier for the breakdown or just breaking her will where she doesn't want to keep going. So I feel like that's kind of like my strategy and the best point that I can make in bare knuckle. If you go in just swinging wild right off the gate, I mean, that's where you're going to make mistakes. You got to be like really smart and strategic about it. And I think for her, she might have that game plan. She might want to come in and say, oh, I just want to end it and come and swing in and not realize like in MMA, you might be able to get away with that, but not here.
I totally understand where you're coming from. I have never myself been in a bare knuckle fight, a legit one, but I have been in a boxing ring in the cage, and just to see this coming at you compared to a pad on it is, I mean, for one, it's got to be nerve-wracking that first time for anybody jumping into bare knuckle. For two, there's obviously, like you said, if you're swinging wildly with a glove, it can connect still. You're swinging with these, you need to be pretty precise and persistent on where you're putting those punches at and landing those punches. Where do you see, or where would you like to see, and I don't want you to think really past Paige because obviously that's your focus and that's where it needs to be. But after, and I'll be optimistic on you, after you defeat Paige Vanzant, where do you see your career going from here?
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely focused on her and have tunnel vision for her, but it's in the mentality that not that I'm just beating Paige Vanzant, but the fact that I'm just moving someone who's blocking my way to being the champ and getting those belts and having my chance at the belts again. I fought for them both, and I think that they're both vacant, and so I definitely feel like I want that. I've tasted it before a little bit, and now I really, really want it. So Paige is in my way, and I just got to take her out. So I'm focused on that task, but after that, there's 2 belts that I definitely think belong with me.
I like it. Now, wouldn't it be crazy? This is just my weirdness coming out now, Britton. Wouldn't it be crazy to all of a sudden throw a belt on the line for this one?
Yeah, I keep thinking it because, like I told you earlier, in the Beck Rollins fight, I had no idea it was going to be for a belt. So I kind of feel like this is like a weird deja vu blessing that I get a second chance to not have a split decision against a UFC vet, that I can, go and knock out, a UFC vet and just show that that's just another name and title and that bare knuckle is better. So BKFC has the better fighters. So that's really what I'm anxious to show. But it's like, I do keep thinking in my back of the head, like, what if they put a belt on and why, why not? I kind of wish they would secretly. So I'm waiting on it, but they probably would have announced it by now. So who knows?
Never know. Personally, I think that Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is putting a lot of stuff behind, a lot of resources behind the coming of Paige. And I think a lot of people are sliding you, Brett. And I want you to go out there and show them what I've seen, what you know, and I want you to put it out there at BKFC 16, February 5th. Now, before we go, I have a little segment that I like to do with all the fighters that I talk to. It's called Rapid Knockout. I'm going to ask 5 questions. Has absolutely zero to do with the fight world, but I got to have your answers. You ready?
Ready.
Favorite food?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Perfect. You and my daughter would get along so much.
Yeah.
Favorite music or song?
Gosh.
Or artist?
I know. It probably makes me look like a big dweeb, but yeah, the best person that comes to mind is Celine Dion as a classic over, the whole years, like not just a period in my life. Celine Dion's always been number 1 since I was a little kid to now.
Okay, there you go. We'll take it. Are you gonna walk out to Celine Dion song?
Hey, I actually considered it, but I've had so many people tell me don't do it. So I've actually have considered it.
Well, my question is that those are the same people that told you not to get into bare knuckle fighting too?
Yeah, I think a few of them are like that too. But it's funny because the people who told me not to get into it are the people that are like, yeah, you gotta change their mind on it. But yeah, I think everyone tells me not to do it.
Well, maybe they need to change their mind on bringing you Celine Dion entrance song. So I'll be listening that way. Favorite sport other than boxing, fighting, other than combat sports?
Oh man, to play soccer, to watch football.
Okay, who's your football team? I heard you said you moved to Philly. Did you become a Philadelphia Eagles fan?
No.
Why are you saying it like that? You're
'Cause
looking to the biggest
like
Eagles
them
fan in Indiana.
Oh shit, my bad. No, I hate the Eagles.
Oh man, who's your team?
No, the Panthers.
Oh well, okay. As long as you didn't say the Cowboys, I still like you. I
Yeah, no,
have
I'm
my
a huge
brother. Okay. Were you sad to see Cam Newton leave?
Yeah, well, yeah, only because I have 3 of his damn jerseys, so it's like, now what am I gonna do? But honestly, it was kind of, I mean, he was on his way out, so it
Well,
was
you still got a hell of a running back down there.
yeah, that's about all we have right now. We'll get number
I
9.
wasn't going to say that. I mean, you won more wins than my team did this year. Plus, we don't have a coach now. Biggest role model growing up, whether it be on the personal side or like the sports side.
Okay, so honestly, a ton, but Tyra Banks, I actually was really inspired her younger because she's so like fierce and a powerful, ambitious woman. And so she was always someone that I really looked up to when I was younger and kind of followed and was like, I don't care, I'm going to do it my way type of personality. So even though it didn't really have much to do with fighting, again, fighting outside of life and inside the ring is kind of just as important. So anyways, she's probably one of my biggest role models growing up.
Gotcha. Last but not least, favorite hobby?
I guess I would say being outdoors, like anything outdoors, hiking, climbing trees, rock climbing, swimming.
Do you fish?
Yeah, fishing.
Okay.
I love fishing.
So do you scale your own fish when you catch them?
No.
Nope.
No. I'm a catch and release person. We did I caught a huge rainbow trout one time and we took it back to the cabin to like fillet it and eat it, and I was like, oh man, I kind of felt bad. It was weird catching it and
knowing that you're gonna take it for dinner.
Yeah, and then I got sick. I felt like it made me sick, so I was like, oh.
Well, you are more of a person than I am, because when I catch a fish, I'm 38. Okay, Britt, I'm 38 years old, and it took till 3 years ago for me to actually touch the fish on my own line. I don't know why. I've just had that phobia all my life that a fish is going to sting me or something like that. I don't get it. I love the outdoors.
Hey, you got to grab them once you figure out how to grab them with their spines down. But yeah, they're kind of slimy and like you really got to squeeze them to get that hook out of their mouth. I know. You can't. And then it's like really stuck in there and you end up jerking its lip out and stuff.
Yeah, that just becomes bait for bigger fish, right?
Right.
There you go. Britt and Hart 4.0. What shout outs do you have? Sponsors, teammates, fans, anything. Here's your time to lay it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just thank you to Knuckleheads Boxing MMA out in Ventura, California. I mean, they have just got me mentally in the best place that I can be right now. So I'm super thankful for that. I'm just amazed on like even just the roar and energy around me right now. That's amazing that I really need going into this fight because I have the heart, I have the dedication to it. So it's kind of just getting that mental support solid. So thank you to them. Definitely to Veteran Farms and Fusion CBD, helping with my training camp the way it has been. It's been amazing. BLIT Organics, Hit 5. In the back home, I have Richie L. Tuck and Son Wood Products and Afton Service Center with my restaurant, The Copper Kettle. I mean, I just have a lot of people that are amazing, and I want to thank my at-home gym with Marcus Luck and Lux Boxing Gym, for just always being there for me and support me when I need them. And then, of course, my 2 kids, Peyton and Paris, they're definitely a lot of my why and reason why I follow my dreams and work as hard because and to my fans and everyone who's believing in me and looking at my story, this is, kind of like for us type of thing that you can work hard, and I'm definitely putting everything into this so I can walk away shocking the world and what we believe in, and that in, you know, bare knuckle fighting, you have to earn it and work really hard to get there. You don't just, you know, dance and waltz in to get it. So I'm excited to show that hard work pays off, and that's what's going to end it, and that's what's going to win it.
I love it. I love it. Bret and Hart 4.0 Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship 16, February 5th, down in the Tampa, Florida area. I think it's on the outskirts. I can't ever remember the name of the city, but
Lakeland.
there you go. Lakeland, Florida. Super Bowl weekend. This is the super fight. What is it? What do they call it? Knuckle Mania, right?
Yep.
Knuckle
Mania.
Britt, again, thank you for coming on and spending some time with us. And hopefully we can get you back on after they raise your hand up on February 5th.
Absolutely. And we'll find out what's fucking next then.
Let's go. Let's get it. Bret and Hart, folks. Hart 4.0. Check her out again February 5th. Tampa, Florida. Lakeland, Florida. 4. BKFC 16. Bret, thank you. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy that California sun.
Absolutely. You too. Thanks so much again.
Thank you. Peace,
Bye.
Combat Zone.